Morning, YouTubers. Happy Labor Day. You gotta excuse the yard here. The lawn is very overgrown. We just got back from vacation actually, and I thought I'd maybe take some time to mow the lawn before doing this video, but if I don't get a chance to do it, I'll show you this video as opposed to one that will show the lawn a little better manicured. This is around the time when the cannas are at their best, and everything is pretty much fully grown by now. So I'm just gonna take a walk. It's early morning. Someone's actually doing some work somewhere around here because I hear a lot of banging, but I'm hoping that maybe they'll keep that to a minimum. Here's our Rosa Sharon double bloom. We actually inherited this with the house. We moved it to this location. It was actually in an odd spot over there. Nice variegation, and it's actually grown a bit, so I'm thinking of pruning it back this year. The bumblebees and all sorts of cross-pollinators love it. We have our massive butterfly bush here, and normally it would have been pruned back a little bit, but like I said, we just got back from vacation, and there's been some things on here that probably, they're gonna need to be pruned. We got our cannas already passing the fence. And a little something about this hydrangea bush. We actually, when we bought the house, this was already here. It was not this massive though. It was by the garage. It had way too much shade. It did bloom a bit, but I wanted to move it to this spot here. And for the longest time, it did not do well. It didn't bloom. We had some droughts where it kind of looked like it was ready to die, so we were watching it and watering it. And it wasn't until this year when we put mulch down in this area that it looked this good. It's never looked this good. It's been a few years now that it's been in this spot, and this is the first time that it's ever looked this good. And I'm thinking it's because of the mulch. The mulch is probably keeping the soil moist, and it's allowing it to probably get better established and protecting its roots because they're not drying out so badly. In addition to that, look at that. First time since it's been moved here that it's actually starting to show some bloom. So I'm very excited about that. I mean, this is massive. This is the best it's ever looked since we moved it here. And I have to say it has to be due to the mulch that we put down on it. That's keeping it, well watered, keeping the soil moist. We've also had a lot more rain this year than normal, so that could be another factor. But I'm just happy that it is getting better established here. We have another Rosa Sharon here that I planted last year, and I'm so excited because I love these Rosa Sharons. Look at that. We're calling this area here where the patio is our palm patio area, so we're kind of trying to create a nice tropical look around it. And with the cannas, it's not a hard thing to do because the cannas look tropical. This is the Stuttgart canna. This is its first year, and it is looking very nice. I actually bought 6 of them online through Brent and Becky's. I'll put their website on this video, and I don't normally give props to places, but if I do find that there are some nice online shops for plants, I'll definitely let you guys know about that. This is our limelight hydrangea, which is kind of, we had a lot of rain last night, so it's kind of drooping. But look at those massive blooms. Look at that. Massive. Does not need pruning from what I've read. You don't need to prune it back. It'll actually bloom and grow off the new and old growth. So I'm excited about that. And I'm hoping that next year these branches will be a lot stronger and it'll be able to hold up its blooms better, but it's because of the rain. I mean, that's understandable. But look at that. Massive, massive blooms. I'm looking forward for it establishing itself here and just looking even more gorgeous as the years go by. We have more cannas here, and we put cannas on this side of the patio just for privacy from the neighbors, and just to basically privacy and getting the whole tropical feel. I mean, you could see that from here, in addition to our inside patio plants. This is a bird of paradise. It kind of gives a really, really nice tropical feel. We also have that palm over there, and I'm hoping that it survives indoors enough for it to come back outside again next year. But these are all house plants in here, which we bring out into the patio, and they're just loving it. They're doing really well. It's a nice little vacation for them. Another exciting thing this year is that this is called a sea buckthorn, and I was not sure if I had a male or female plant, and it had been a while since I've had it here, and it's been growing. You could tell it's a pretty good size. This is the first year that it actually started showing berries, and I'm trying to see if I can find some berries for you guys. So, oh, there we go. Let's see if I can get you in there. Some berries. There they are. First year that it started to produce berries, so I am very excited about that. They're a little bitter, but from what I hear, just add a little sugar, you can make some juice out of it. The berries are supposed to have a higher vitamin C content than oranges. Oh, look at this. We got a little visitor. Check that out. Look at that. Got a little furry visitor there. I ended up adding this hardy hibiscus this year. I actually found the nursery just up the street that I never really got around to visiting, but when they started to advertise 50% off, I thought, 50 to 75% off, I thought I'd give it a go, check out what they had, and got this hardy hibiscus for a really, really good deal. So I'm really excited about that. And I did want to have one just to add on to the whole tropical look. And it's nice not to have to pull plants up that kind of give that tropical feel. I don't mind doing that with the cannas, but I don't want to kind of have to do that with all the plants that I put around our palm patio area. We have lilies too, which we planted this year. And they did really well, and I'm hoping that, as the years go by, they're going to double as well. And there's still more things to plant around here. Every year we do a little more. Here's another section of our palm patio. There's this ruby red butterfly bush, which I love. I love this color. Look at that beautiful ruby red color. And I've seen videos, I've looked at videos that I've done, and the video really doesn't do it any justice. If you see it at a store, you'll kind of better understand. It doesn't really grasp the true color of it. It's just a nice, beautiful ruby red color, and I love having that in my garden. The butterflies love it too. We planted this. This is a pawpaw tree, which we planted here. We ended up getting 2 pawpaw trees this year, and they do need a cross-pollinator. Our grapes, green grapes, which are awesome. And these are early ripening grapes. Our Chicago fig, which has tons of figs. And look at that, it's already past the fence. We did winterize it this year. I'm sorry, last year, just to give it a head start. So that's probably one of the reasons why it's maybe bypassed the fence. I don't know if it would have done that if we hadn't winterized it, because it does die down to the ground. But it's very quick to shoot up the minute the temperature starts to get warm. So for those of you who are considering cold hardy fig, just know that winterizing it it's not a bad thing to do. It gives it a head start. This is why ours is so massive right now. And but the figs, we haven't picked any yet. It's been a kind of like a weird season this year with a lot of rain, so I don't know if having too much rain is the cause of that. Normally by this time we've picked a few, but it hasn't happened. We ended up picking up these cannas at Home Depot this year as well. We got a really good deal on them. They were on clearance, $5 each. Nice deal. And if you haven't seen my Maypop video, I highly recommend it. These are beautiful, beautiful Maypop passion fruit flowers. And what I did this year is I placed a pot as a barrier for its roots, so it wouldn't run outside of this planting area, because they do run. These plants will run and take over your yard. I have a section on the other side of the yard where they are just all over the place, and we just keep pulling them up like weeds. So I tried putting them in a pot with the bottom of the pot removed, and so far it has maintained in the pot. I have not seen any shoots coming out from outside the pot, so that has so far worked for me. So anyone out there who wants to have a Maypop and keep it contained, that's one method. I'm not saying that by next year, I don't know, next year it could maybe find its way outside of the pot. This is its first year, so I'm kind of hesitant to say that it's going to be a successful tactic. So I'm going to maybe give it a few years to make sure that it doesn't make its way outside of that barrier area. But you can see here, it's doing really well. It's quick to get established. I moved these this year, and they had no problem in making their way up the posts and creating a nice tropical feel. Look at these. Gorgeous. Excuse the banging in the background there. We have this other, look at that. It's another Rose of Sharon. Gorgeous. We have some white roses here. They need to be pruned back a bit so that they can, ground cherries. So I had actually grown ground cherries in a pot. That was my first time growing ground cherries. And the seeds are very, very tiny. They kind of remind me of tomato seeds, only tinier than tomato seeds. But the shape and everything reminds me of tomato seeds. And this was my first time attempting last year. It was last year my first time attempting to grow ground cherries from seed. And if you will see my ground cherry video, the first one I did, very, very easy to grow. You just put the seed in the ground, and that is it. They have no problem whatsoever coming up. And so these are a result. There's one here. You can see one there. There's one over there. Those are a result of, and the pot was actually, that's a blueberry bush, but I removed the pot from here. So these are a result from ground cherries falling in the ground, and I left them there throughout the winter, and now they're coming back up again. So these are from ground cherries that fell to the ground that I just kind of left, because once the cold weather hits, they kind of fail to ripen well. and I just didn't bother to pick them up. I didn't think that they would survive, but obviously, hey, there you go. You plant them once, and if you allow some of them to drop to the ground and leave them there for the winter months, you'll get ground cherries. So it kind of works as a perennial. There's our other maypop. We got grasses this year, which made a huge improvement to the yard. Our dahlias that were not staked. I'm actually going to look into getting dahlias that don't need to be staked. They do have a variety. Look at that, gorgeous. Look at that. It's so gorgeous. I'm going to do a few cut flowers when I get done with this video. But there are some dahlia varieties that don't grow this massive and don't need to be staked. So just something that I'm going to look into for next year. This is our plum tree, and I do need to do an update on my plum trees, a plum tree video. I found, I'll just make a few notes about that right now, is plum trees are very sensitive. You can see here, I did prune some branches off after I got done cleaning it out from all the fruits, because it's very important to keep your fruit tree area clean from any fallen fruit, from just pretty much keep it clean to control the pests that will attack your trees. So that's very important. If you check out one of my videos on cleanliness in the orchard, home orchard, I highly recommend if you're looking into keeping a nice small orchard in your home. Just to keep your areas clean. Anytime fruit falls, and I'm sorry about that background noise, fruit falls, and just clean everything up. Check the trees on a regular basis. That's the only way you'll know to clean it up. Also to check and see if there's any pests attacking your trees. But I found that my experience so far with plum trees is they're very sensitive trees. They are going to need more protection than my other stone fruit trees. The plums and the cherries do get ants, so next year we're going to put barriers around the trunks of the trees, and I believe that should really resolve a lot of the problem. But we're also going to do that with the plum. But the plums, when it fruits, the fruit begin to release that wonderful peach scent before they are even ripe. So, and that brings on more pests, and not just pests from the ground, but also pests that can fly and land on your trees. So that's just something we're working on, and I'll do more videos on how to resolve and protect the peach trees, because it looks like they're just require a little bit more maintenance than the other trees. We have our red rose here. We also did ground cherries this year in the ground, and it provided us with larger, let me go over this fence here. Ooh. Huge ground cherries. Look at that. Look at that. So when you plant them on the ground, it allows them to get bigger as opposed to being contained in a pot. There's actually some over here that I have. They look very sad right now because, like I said, we've been away for a couple of weeks on vacation. And the ground cherries over there are considerably smaller. These are massive. I mean, look at that. Look at that huge ground cherry. So when you plant ground cherries in the ground, you get huge ground cherries. And again, if you allow some to fall to the ground, you will get some coming back. They'll come back next year. So they do reseed themselves. There's another one here. Look at this. This is like, well, this one's a little bit more beat up, but there's more over there, which I'll grab when I get done with this video. Let me see. here's another one. There you go. Look at that. Get considerably larger ground cherries when you grow them in the ground. We have some spaghetti squash over here. I tried growing cantaloupe, but I also tried growing them in unison with the spaghetti squash, and the spaghetti squash actually just kind of dominated the area. So at this point, I doubt that I'm going to get any cantaloupe. And it's something I'm going to work with next year. Our tomatoes did really well this year, as you can see. And we actually only bought 2 tomato plants this year. Everything else was from last year. So if you allow your tomatoes to fall to the ground, because once the weather starts getting cold, they don't ripen as quickly. We get a few that fall to the ground. Just leave them there and they'll reseed themselves as well. And a lot of these tomato plants, the majority of them, especially all of these here, are from last year. We just allowed the tomatoes to fall to the ground. When I tillered and fertilized this area this spring, they just popped up, came right back up again. So that was nice, not having to buy tomato plants. The only tree that's left now to pick is our pear tree, which we're gonna do. I'm gonna make some pear butter with a lot of these pears. Frosty? You see somebody here also likes to eat pears. Hey, what are you doing, huh? Excuse my shadow. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, Frosty. Hey, what is that, huh? He's a mess right now because of the rain. Yeah, I see you. He gets into everything. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching my video and checking out my garden. Next year we plan to do, not hope to, we will. We'll continue to add on, improve, and keep you up to date, inform you on the fruit trees and everything else. And hope you all enjoying your Labor Day weekend. And we will see you soon. Keep gardening.